I'm freaking out, but I've got to trust the power I've built as Warrior Kim. The mountain-shattering sword style, I never missed a day of training. The moves I learned with Ujin and that intense cultivation technique I mastered. My Dharma heart is getting stronger every single day I live. And Twin Breaker, the skill I found when things look darkest. A final move that can slice through anything in the whole universe. The slash attribute. I'll put my faith in my skills and all the hard work I've put in. Most importantly, I'm gonna believe in myself. With that thought, Jun Su raised his sword and bolted. A blinding flash of sword light exploded. Dudich stood there like an idiot, unable to do a single thing about it. He just watched the light dive into the tsunami and expand, turning the whole world into a blinding white glare. Up in the stands, Jian and the crowd were losing their minds. Even Ujun and the crew had no clue what happened. The light was so bright they were basically blind. Only when it faded did Jun Su and Dudich come back into view. But a second later, Jun Su coughed up a bunch of blood. Across the way, Dick looked totally trashed too. He whispered, "That was one hell of a match. Warrior Kim, right?" Then he just passed out. The ref immediately raised Jun Su's hand. "The winner is Warrior Kim." Ujin and the gang rushed the ring to celebrate. Jun Su just gave a tired, happy smile. "I did it. I actually beat a high-level superhuman without even using a mutation attribute." Ujin grabbed him, screaming, "Master, you are the best!" The other three were literally crying with joy as they crowded him, shouting about how awesome he was. "You were like a god out there. We knew you would wreck that loser." Suddenly, a furious scream ripped through the arena. "You son of a bitch!" Jun Su turned and saw Jian charging with a hammer. Before Junu could even blink, Ujun jumped in front of him to block the hit. Crash! A massive explosion of energy sent a shock wave through the floor. And surprise, Jian was the one who went flying. Ujun yelled, "You cowardly piece of garbage! How dare you attack our master just because you lost the match? You seriously have a death wish, huh?" Before he could snap, the ref stepped in to shut him down, then turned to Jian with a cold reminder. "Do not forget that magic oath you swore. One wrong move and your heart is going to straight up explode." Still acting tough, Jian screamed, "Warrior Kim, our captain is dead because of you. We are going to get revenge." The pontiff's army is not letting this go. As soon as he shut his mouth, the knights behind him charged. Jun Su did not even blink. "Are you claiming I killed him?" Jian fired back instantly. "You bet I am. We saw you kill him with our own eyes, so quit lying." Jun Su scoffed, his voice turning ice cold. "You are the one who actually killed Odusi." Jian's face twisted in pure rage as he started shaking. Jun Su, not giving a single damn, just kept talking. He might have been my rival, but the man was the definition of a true warrior. He deserved better than dying in a duel that only happened because of your trashy little assassination plot. For the sake of honor, Jian had to accept the loss and keep his word. He just hung his head in silence. Jian was speechless, but Jun Su did not care. "This is all just because of your pathetic inferiority complex." Jian just stood there, shaking and whispering for his captain. Seeing him like that, a few holy knights came over and finally dragged him away. Jun Su narrowed his eyes, watching Jian leave while thinking deep about his next move. Even after that speech, I doubt the pontiff's army is going to drop their grudge anytime soon. Next day, Director Choi was in his office bragging on the phone. "Yup, we officially signed a contract with Warrior Kim. Yeah, the guy who just smoked the captain of the pontiff's army. I see what you want." Right then, someone walked in. He rushed to hang up, saying he would call back. It was Jun Su, here to grab that custom armor he ordered. He was pretty hyped. I was worried the master blacksmith would try to get all creative, but he followed my specs to the letter. Massive and tough as nails. Choi rushed over with a gift box, acting like a total suck-up. "Since you are finally here, why not try this on too? It is a gift from me." A bit confused, Jun Su opened the box and immediately started shouting with pure joy. "Now this right here is what I am talking about," Choi explained with excitement. "It is a luxury handmade training suit with self-cleaning and mana recovery." Jun Su gave him a big thumbs up. He grinned, totally satisfied. "You know my style. Thanks, Director Choi." Choi told him he looked just like a professional model, but then he hesitated and started stammering. By the way, could I ask for a favor?" Jun Su frowned. "What is it?" Choi lowered his voice and whispered, "Business is exploding thanks to you, but since you are new to the team, people are starting to doubt if our contract is even legit." Jun Su nodded, getting the point instantly. "Ah, if that is the case, I guess I have no choice. Did you already take a job for me?" Choi replied, "I did, and I found the perfect one for you." Choi handed him a file. The Sun Tower wants to study your black flames for some science research project. Jun Su's brow furrowed. He knew the Sun Tower was one of the 4 great magic towers in the city. If he remembered right, it was a place that focused entirely on powerful fire magic. Choi added that they would pay him as much as an official member. Jun Su gave a nod. Fine, I will take it. Since that specific person was at the Sun Tower, he knew exactly what his reward was going to be. Soon, Jun Su arrived at the Sun Tower, a place absolutely dripping with fire magic. Once he stepped inside, he was actually pretty impressed. A spot where science and magic live together. What a view. Right then, some guy walked up to him. Warrior Kim, I am Park Hyungdu, a researcher here. You are here for the Black Flame study, right? Yeah. Jun Su nodded. Hyungdu started leading him deeper inside. We are short on time, so let's get moving. Please follow me. Soon enough, they walked into a research lab as Hyungdu suggested. Let us start with some basic tests, shall we? Jun Su frowned. This machine looks way too familiar to me. While Jun Su was thinking, Hyungdu spoke up. Please step inside. All you have to do is just stand still. Not thinking much of it, Jun Su stepped in. Instantly, a glowing magic circle appeared right in front of him. His face soured instantly. This is a machine that scans and reveals every single detail about a player. It is going to expose all my secret traits. He slammed his fists on the glass, yelling, "Stop this machine now. I am not doing this." Hyungdu stood outside with a smirk on his face. Please just stay still. It is standard procedure, all in the contract, the guy said. Jun Su felt his blood boil. He balled up his fist and roared, "Beat it, you jerk." Then he smashed the glass panel to pieces. Hyungdu jumped back, totally spooked. Hey, what the hell is wrong with you? Jun Su barked back at him. The deal was just to show off my black flames for research. I never signed up for this garbage. Suddenly, fast footsteps rushed in. Without waiting a single second, the new guy arrived on the scene. He clocked Hyungdu right in the jaw and yelled, "Park Hyungdu, you moron, doing this crap again?" It was Yoon Seo, the research boss. He hissed through his teeth, "How dare you sabotage my project?" Hyungdu panicked and tried to explain, "Chief, it is just a big misunderstanding." But the boss was not buying it. He was not having it. He screamed, "Misunderstanding my foot! You were trying to sell off Warrior Kim's private data!" I have been watching you the entire time. Hyungdu went silent, looking down as he mumbled a very quiet sorry. I just got greedy. Seo scoffed and said coldly, "Get out of here. You are fired from this team." Jun Su stood there totally confused. Then Seo turned to him looking sorry. "My bad, Warrior Kim. I am Yoon Seo, the research lead." About that, Jun Su cut him off right then and there. "Not your fault. I guess this kind of drama happens all the time here." Seo sighed deeply. That idiot has a gambling problem and sells info to pay debts. If not for his mentor, he would be gone by now. I get it, Jun Su said with a slight nod. Look, I came all this way to fulfill your request and nearly had my personal data stolen. To make it up to him, Seo offered an upgraded membership level. You will get access to our top-tier facilities and the high-end training grounds as well. Just like that, Jun Su felt way better. A magic tower training ground? Aren't those spots usually just for mages? He nodded, feeling satisfied. Not a bad deal at all. Seeing his reaction, the assistant said, "Go rest while I get things ready." Jun Su gave a little nod. "Fine, I will just walk around for a bit." He headed to another floor of the Sun Tower. Jun Su was in high spirits now. Man, I almost got totally ripped off, but it was worth the trouble. This is my chance to grab new traits at the Magic Tower training grounds. Right then, an announcement blared. Starting lightning magic training. Suddenly, the orbs right in front of him began to crackle with massive energy. A second later, bolts of lightning rained down. Jun Su was covered in sparks as the power surged right through his body. The pain hit deep. Jun Su gritted his teeth, trying to bear it. It was absolutely brutal. I should probably use a trait to handle some of this, he thought. He quickly swapped his active trait. Right away, the lightning intensity dropped down. Before long, Jun Su finished the training and scored the 6-element resistance trait. After reaching his goal, he shouted out happily, "Okay, that is enough. Shut the power off. I am getting totally fried in here." But right then, the system flashed red and the alarm started screaming. Manual override activated. Warning, warning, the intensity of the electrical current has been changed. Lightning blasted him again, making him yell out, "Wait, what the hell? I said I was finished with this. Who is doing this?" Jun Su quickly spotted that Jerk Hyungdu standing right outside the room. He was holding the control lever, glaring inside with eyes full of malice as he snarled, "You messed with the wrong guy, you total piece of trash." The second he finished talking, Hyung-do slammed the controls all the way up to the max. The lightning went crazy, hitting Jun Su hard. His face immediately turned very serious. By this point, Hyung-do had completely lost his mind, screaming his head off, "Die, you jerk!" And just like that, Jun Su took the full maximum blast of lightning. Hyung-do laughed like he had already won. "That is what you get for crossing me," but his grin disappeared instantly, and his face froze. Jun Su was still standing there, totally unaffected by it. He was not going down to some cheap trick like this. There was a real reason he spent his extra time in the training room. One of Jun Su's special traits was called Divine Resistance. He earned it fighting back against a saint's purification ritual. He picked up fire resistance after soaking himself in that magic spring. He got dark resistance from his battle with the necromancer named Karen. He earned ice resistance from fighting those vengeful spirits. Finally, he got earth resistance while escaping a deadly magic trap set by a manhunter. Finally, electric resistance. That makes 6 traits. Junu wasted no time fusing all those powers into one ultimate state. A massive wave of raw magical energy flooded his body, and his heart was no exception to the surge. His core was shifting fast, and suddenly he unlocked magic resistance. Kim Jun-soo flashed a wicked, creepy-as-hell grin. Outside, Hyung-do totally lost it, screaming, "How the hell is he tanking Tier 3 magic with his bare skin? Is that dude even human?" This time, the magic is going to hit way harder than before. Hyung-do slammed the joystick again, and the alarm went nuts. "Warning, warning, the system is totally out of control. Abort the training and evacuate immediately." Kim Jun-soo didn't even blink. He just gave a cold, arrogant snort. "System failure, huh? Sounds pretty spicy. I will just use my new traits to dodge every single incoming attack." Instantly, lightning blasted toward Kim Junu, but he ghosted it easily, even snagging a new retreat trait. Talk about a win. Sick. At this pace, I will probably score a trait even better than that airstrike power. While Kim Jun-soo was totally vibing, Hyung-do was out there absolutely fuming. He was frantically mashing the controls, howling that he was going to kill him. Suddenly, Manjio stormed in and slapped him. He screamed, "You absolute psycho! I heard the warning alarm all the way from outside. What the hell are you doing?" He immediately barked an order for the crew to kill the power right now. The lightning flickered out, and the whole system finally returned to a normal state. Myung-so snapped and grabbed Hyung-do by the collar, growling, "You lunatic! How dare you try to hurt him?" He frantically waved his hands, trying to backpedal. "Director, no!" Just then, Kim Jun-soo walked out of the room. He let out a cold, disrespectful laugh. "Hurt me?" Mong-suk spun around, looking totally stressed and very anxious. Kim Junu just smirked and said with a shrug, I do feel a little tingly." The whole crowd was stunned. After all that shady business, Hyung-do finally got booted out of the magic tower. No amount of begging helped him. Kim Jun-soo watched him go and asked what his fate would be. Mong-so explained they would cast a brain spell. Kim Junu just nodded, acting totally stone cold. So his life as a mage is dead. Serves him right. Myung-sok didn't feel any pity either. That kid was a walking disaster. This was coming. "Hey, take this as an apology for all the trouble." He handed Kim a box with a special elixir inside. This potion has some of the best healing properties around. Inside, he was hyped, but he played it cool. "Thanks, sir. This stuff is basically a second life for me." Myung-sok just waved it off and laughed. "Don't mention it. I think this is a fair trade." He clearly wanted this drama to die down, but Kim Junu had other plans for this magic tower. He spoke up slowly. "Gotta say, it is pretty sketchy that I have been jumped twice since I got here. Don't you think?" Mungu started sweating. "Fine, just tell me what you really want." Kim Junu faked a thoughtful look before dropping the bomb. "There is something I have been eyeing. I want to endure the signature spells from all 4 great magic towers." Then, the director gasped. "No way you mean the solar cannon." Kim Junu just nodded like it was absolutely nothing to him. "Just shoot me with it." Myung-shok heard that and tried to talk some sense into the guy. A Tier 3 superhuman won't even last 1 second against that monster. But Junu shut him down immediately. "Nah, I can tank it for 15 seconds. Mangak was floored. Even a Tier 5 would think twice. Kim stood firm. "I am just built different." Myung-suk looked at him confused and hesitated before speaking. "That black flame can incinerate an enemy's mana. Interesting play, but it is still suicide." Kim Junu just laughed. "Guess we will find out." Immediately, Kim Junu headed straight to the chamber housing the massive and deadly solar cannon. Standing right in front of it, he thought, man, getting blasted by this thing is terrifying, but I have no choice. If he wanted to snag that solar cannon trait, he only had 3 real paths to take. 1. Join the tower as an apprentice. 2. Beat the tower master in a one-on-one battle. But both those methods are for magic users only, so he was completely out of luck there. While Junu was still plotting, Myung-shuk cut the tension. We are blasting off now. Junu gave a sharp nod, basically saying, bring it on. But wait, there was a secret third option. He could trigger a hidden quest that only unlocked with high favorability from the Tower Master. And as luck would have it, the big boss was right here. The solar cannon started humming with lethal energy. Junu squinted at the massive firepower about to turn him into toast. A massive fireball screamed through the air. One huge boom later, and the whole place went up in a blinding explosion. Junu was literally standing in a sea of fire, but he was holding his own. Thank God for those OP traits baked into his magic armor. The crowd watching from above was completely losing their minds. They were yelling, is he seriously tanking that? He is only tier 3, so how the hell? Junu did not care about the hype. He just grit his teeth and took the burn. He was ready, but man, it still hurt like hell. 15 seconds of pure torture later, Mong screamed, that is it, 15 seconds are up. Shut down the solar cannon. The fire vanished instantly, leaving Junu looking like something the cat dragged in. He grabbed his chest, gasping for air. Finally over. Those were easily the longest 15 seconds of his entire life. The Tower Master looked pretty impressed. He smirked and asked, what was that kid's name again? Warrior Kim, right? He is one tough kid. A few minutes later, Junu was invited to the Tower Master's office for some tea. The Master looked at him like a proud dad and smiled. That was legit impressive back there. Using black flame to tank the solar cannon like that? You are perfect for this secret project we have been planning. It is an honor, Junu said, keeping a straight face. He looked calm, but inside, he was doing a victory dance for those points. The Tower Master laughed again. I like your style, kid. Now, I have a little favor to ask. Junu blinked. A favor? Right then, a young guy walked through the door and spoke up. Grandfather, you wanted to see me? The Master nodded and started the introductions. Meet Warrior Kim. He is a tier 3 superhuman. Junu stood up immediately. Hey, nice to meet you. The other guy gave a stiff bow. Nice to meet you, too. Junu realized he knew this guy. Mage Kim was the magic class guide, appearing after Iron Fist and Priest Kim. Man, this guy was always such a downer. This is my grandson. He has got potential for days, but his power has been totally stuck at tier 1 forever. Junu nodded along. Yeah, that is weird. Mage Kim just looked totally defeated. Sorry for being the weirdo and a total disgrace to the tower. Junu panicked and quickly said, wait, I did not mean it like that. The Master was used to the drama. He looked at Junu and asked, so what is your take, Kim? I heard you fixed up Director S's kid. Surely you have got an idea on how to jumpstart this boy. Mage Kim stayed silent, not daring to talk. Junu squinted hard at the old man and his grandson. After a long silence, he smirked. Of course, there is a way. Hearing that, both their faces lit up right then. The Master shouted happily, seriously? If you can pull this off, I will give you anything you want. Anything? Junu scoffed at that. This was exactly how the hidden quest was supposed to start. I want the solar cannon. Junu did not waste time. The Tower Master nearly choked on his tea. Repeat that. What do you want? Junu did not blink. The solar cannon. Was I stuttering? The Master froze for a second, then whispered after a long pause. You want the solar cannon, huh? If the tower's future is on the line, I can do it. But what on earth do you want with it? Junu played it cool, giving a wink. Can you just hand it over in the form of a memory chip? That way, I can learn it instantly. The Master did not expect such a rush, but he just nodded. Fine. Mage Kim suddenly cut in. Sorry to jump in, but how exactly are you going to train me? Junu just shrugged. First, we find out what is actually wrong. Before the kid could speak, the Master answered coldly. The problem is the kid is an idiot. He is supposed to be a mage, but his math skills are 0. Junu finally understood exactly what the deal was. He was smart enough for business school, but math was a nightmare for him, making magic basically impossible to learn. Junu finally spoke up. Well, why do we not just learn magic that does not require any math? The Master looked totally lost. What do you mean magic that does not involve calculations? Jun Su just shrugged and played it cool. Using spirits, He can evolve into a fire witch. The Tower Master's jaw dropped. A fire witch? That's not even a mage, man. That's insane. Kim Junu just shrugged and pouted. So, you want your grandson to stay like this for his whole life? Or do you want him to become a fire witch and unlock his true potential? The boss just stared at Kim in silence. He finally sat back with a heavy sigh. Then, Kim Junu started breaking down the plan in detail. Look, the big problem is casting, right? You can't handle the words, so you can't use the magic. Let the spirits do the heavy lifting while you just supply the juice. The Tower Master shook his head. No way. That's impossible. The kid isn't even tight with spirits, so how's he supposed to snag one? Kim frowned at them both. Listen, I'm not saying he needs to sign a contract with those spirits. Like I said, he just uses them. Mage Kim just needs to carve the spell right into a magic circle. The user just brings the power, and the circle executes the spell. The Tower Master was totally blown away by this idea. You're saying we catch a spirit and use it as a living mana circle? Or better yet, we just turn it into a magic circle? Kim Jun Su nodded. You got it. Exactly. The Master was hyped. That's a wild theory. I thought you were just some warrior dude. How do you know all this tech stuff? Kim had no clue how to even answer that. Obviously, the method was genius because they invented it in the future. Right then, the Tower Master hit a snag. But the spirit gate is shut tight right now. We can't summon anything, Kim Junu said with a shrug. Just swap them for animal spirits? The Tower Master's face fell as he muttered, an animal spirit like a phoenix? That's tough. How are we even going to find a legendary beast like that? Kim laughed and said, chill out, I've got a way. A short while later, the three of them arrived at a canyon. The place was crawling with phoenixes. Seeing them, Mage Kim yelled, a valley full of phoenixes actually exists? Even the Tower Master was totally stunned by the sight. Even top-tier superhumans would have a hard time finding a place like this. How did you do it? Kim grinned and said, phoenixes aren't what the rumors say. They just hide in the back of the valley. And I just stumbled onto them. The Master didn't buy it, but he went along with it anyway. Wow, you really are one lucky guy. Kim Jun Su leaned in closer with a devious smile. So, what about that sun cannon we talked about? The Tower Master gave a slight nod. Fine, I'll give you one. Kim was hyped. Finishing a quest just by dropping a location? Total steal. As he was celebrating, the Master asked, how does a warrior like you plan to boost that sun cannon's power? Kim answered coolly, I'm going to upgrade it. My whole goal is to create a vision. The Tower Master just laughed. A vision? Good luck with that, kid. That is not an easy task. It took us 10 years to do that. Kim Jun Su just shrugged like it was nothing. A warrior's approach is bound to be different from a mage's, right? Who knows? Maybe it works. Maybe my vision will be even better than yours. The Tower Master narrowed his eyes and pouted. Let's make a bet, then. 2-year time limit. Let's see who's better, you or our tower. Kim calmly accepted the challenge. What's the stakes? The Master thought it over. If you win, I'll grant you any one wish. But if I win, you join our security team. Deal. Sounds good. Kim agreed without even thinking about it. Another chance to play the Magic Tower? Why wouldn't he agree to that? While they talked, Mage Kim slipped into the canyon. Now it was time to confirm the deal. Later, outside the operating room, Kim was waiting. Myung-sa walked up with a big grin. That was incredible, Kim. I can't believe you actually figured out how to make fire witches a thing in our tower. Kim smirked and said, yeah, Director, but let's just hope this surgery is a total success first. Myung-sa finally sat down and nodded. True. But about that mage we kicked out. Kim frowned and mumbled. Oh, you mean that total loser? Myung-sa looked grim. I looked into him after he left. He definitely took cash from the Kumo Corporation. Kim's eyes went wide. The Kumo Corporation? One of the 5 biggest power players in the world? They were notorious for cutthroat business tactics, basically devouring every competitor in their path to dominate the market. They were the ultimate big bads in the game. Myung-sa shot him a dead serious look and whispered, it is not just about them stealing magic data. They are literally hunting for info on you specifically. They probably want to hire you. No way. Kim Junu felt a cold shiver crawl right down his spine. He sighed, totally defeated. No chance he would work with villains like Kumo. Just great. One more thing to dodge. Suddenly, the operating room door swung open. The Tower Master bolted to Junu and smacked him hard on the back. He let out a huge laugh. Haha, a total success. I owe it all to you, superhuman Kim. My grandson is a superhuman mage now. Jun Su was reeling from that hit. Then Mage Kim stepped out, glowing with insane magical energy. He gave a deep bow and said, "Thank you so much." Junu squinted as he checked the guy out. "He is already at my level, a level 3 right out of the gate. Is that just pure DNA?" Then he spoke. "It feels wild that I can cast magic this easily." Jun Su walked over with a grin and a suggestion. "Stick to fire attribute elixirs from now on. That way, you will generate way more mana." Mage Kim nodded, looking truly grateful. "You are even showing me how to level up." "Thanks." Suddenly, the Tower Master hollered, "Good job, Kim. Here is the reward you wanted." Just like that, Jun Su's eyes lit up. He finally scored that solar cannon, but there was a little something extra in the pile. He asked, "What is this?" The Tower Master opened a bag at his feet. "I threw in a little bonus to give you a boost," he said. "I even hit it with spatial preservation magic." Jun Su's eyes were practically sparkling. This guy's affection was off the charts. Later on at the office, Director Choi literally gasped when he saw the massive pile of cash Jun Su brought. "You made 5 billion in rewards? That is nuts," Jun Su smirked. "Guess it is time you got used to my greatness." Then he suggested, "Anyway, it is finally time to drink that nectar I have been holding on to." Director Choi hesitated. "The nectar? You hit level 3 less than a month ago. Isn't this moving way too fast? Watch for side effects." Jun Su just scoffed. "Well, can you just refine the nectar for me, Director Choi?" "Refine it?" Choi was shocked for a second, but then he gave a confident wink. "Just leave it to me." He opened his inventory and started digging around. After a minute, Choi spoke up. "I just need a few main ingredients here. These are the easiest to find." Jun Su scanned the list, frowning as he started mumbling to himself. "So I get different traits based on the ingredients I pick. Man, this is a tough call." He already had strength, healing, and that steel armor. After thinking it over, Jun Su pointed at one item and declared, "All right, let's do it. Let's go with the horned tiger's heart." Choi was stunned. He asked hesitantly, "Does it really have to be a horned tiger?" Seeing that look, Jun Su asked, "What's wrong?" Choi explained slowly, "That's an endangered species, so they're incredibly hard to find." Jun Su was completely baffled by that news. Right after that, Jun Su drove off to find one himself. He wasn't even worried about it. If he couldn't buy one, he would just hunt it. The real problem? How do you find one tiger in this massive area? Junu didn't want to go this far, but he was out of options. He pulled out a can of fish and held it right to his nose. Soon, Jun Su had the canine nose trait. "I would seriously rather be smelling a durian. This fermented herring is nasty as hell." It felt like the smell of rotten garbage was stuck in his lungs, but now he could smell absolutely everything. Junu pushed deeper into the wilderness. He caught the scent of blood. Is there a predator nearby? Does that mean it is here? Jun Su scanned the area, but before he spotted the beast, he saw something else. In the distance, a vehicle was rolling up with a crew on board. They were chasing an animal and firing like crazy. From the other side, Jun Su rushed to follow. Great competition. He might lose the trail. Looking at the claw marks on that carcass, this was definitely no ordinary horned tiger. This was the legendary beast of the plateau, the Mountain King, and it had all 6 traits. Right then, the Mountain King lunged straight at Jun Su. If he slipped up for even a second, he was dead. Jun Su didn't dare hesitate and dodged the attack. What shocked him even more was that the Mountain King had the evasion trait too. Junu bit his lip hard. "I don't have many openings. I have to end this in one shot. Guess I will just rely on my gut instincts." While Jun Su was calculating, the Mountain King charged fiercely. He aimed his gun and activated a trait. Jun Su fired without blinking, but that Mountain King still dodged. The bullet just grazed its fur. Jun Su bit his lip. It dodged that? Unreal. But I am not done yet. He lunged forward again. He faced the Mountain King head-on. Jun Su aimed his gun again, scoffing. "I might be a warrior, but my marksmanship is top tier." Right as he finished speaking, he fired. A magic bullet buried itself in the beast. Jun Su smiled, feeling satisfied, but that grin did not last very long at all. The beast charged again, catching him off guard. Luckily, Jun Su was fast enough to dodge the hit. He never thought it could move after getting hit by the black flame. Jun Su stared in alarm, frowning. Since the black flame failed, I will have to get up close. Meanwhile, the beast's eyes started to grow cloudy. It stared at Jun Su with pure bloodlust. Without hesitating, it charged wildly. Jun Su knew this move all too well. This was the beast's strongest skill, the breaching rush. It adds over 1.5 tons of force, enough to completely tear apart any target it hits. Despite the reputation that scared every player, the strategy to win was laughably simple. You just had to use its own strength against it. Jun Su leaped onto the beast's back, catching it by surprise. He scoffed and said coldly, "Surprised yet? You cannot dodge this one, can you?" Right then, he slashed his sword deep into the beast's spine. Fresh blood started gushing out endlessly as he landed the fatal blow. A little while later, Jun Su dragged the beast's corpse into the city, attracting a huge crowd. Holding the box with its heart, he shouted, "This is the big one, everyone! See its heart right here?" He handled it alone, fearing other hunters would betray him before he could finally obtain his new trait. He slowly announced, "I only need the heart, so the rest of the parts are for sale. Anyone interested?" He really wanted to see exactly how much this beast was worth. The moment he finished, the bidding war started. Instantly, the price shot up to 2.5 billion. Suddenly, a woman in a hat stepped out from the crowd and dropped a price that shocked everyone. "I will pay 5 billion. Without even thinking, Jun Su yelled, "Sold for 5 billion!" Once he officially agreed, the rest of the crowd began to disperse. The woman walked up and said, "I will transfer the cash to you right now." Jun Su handed over his account details. She transferred the money quickly and then asked curiously, "By the way, did you really kill that thing all by yourself?" Jun Su gave a small nod and replied, Yeah. I just got really lucky, I guess." She scoffed with a smirk. "There is no such thing as luck in hunting. Your skills obviously had a lot to do with it." She handed Jun Su a business card. "This is my card. I would really appreciate it if you reached out in the future." Then she turned and walked away. Jun Su looked at the card. Why does this feel so familiar? Probably just another rich big shot. But Jun Su did not care. He had the tiger heart and 5 billion in the bank. He was lucky enough. 2 days later, Jun Su returned home. He rushed to the training room and checked the potion vial in his hand, nodding with pure satisfaction. You could easily tell the quality of the potion just by its color. Earlier, after bringing back that tiger heart, Jun Su had given it to Choice CEO to refine into this. He said there would not be any side effects, and he looked confident, so I guess I can trust him. Still, Jun Su sighed. But I am still kind of nervous. Just in case, he decided to arrange his traits first. Then, Jun Su chugged the entire vial. Instantly, heat like lava erupted inside of him. His body began to evolve as it detected the change in his rising adrenaline levels. The effects were finally kicking in. This made Jun Su extremely happy. It was regenerating his magic circuit, and he even reached level 4. Jun Su could not have been more satisfied with this. Now that he was level 4, everything felt different, as if his very soul had ascended to a brand new level. Plus, he received the new Berserk attribute. Just like Choiso said, the crafting process was a total success. This was exactly why Jun Su went there to hunt monsters and sell off their rare item drops. Using the traits from battle and combining his equipment with this diamond, he obtained the sturdy and giant traits. Jun Su nodded, totally satisfied. The prep was done. Now for the final step. Right then, Jun Su's body began to undergo a massive change. Muscle fibers inside him suddenly tore apart as his entire bone structure began to realign itself. Soon the traits began to merge. Jun Su had obtained giant strength. Looking at his powerful new body, he was ecstatic. Finally, I have it, giant strength. This is the ultimate top-tier trait for any warrior. But right away, Kim Junu saw the catch. His body was beefing up, but whatever. Time to see if this power was actually legit. Without missing a beat, Kim Jun-Su swung at the glass. One hit and the whole thing exploded into 1,000,000 tiny shards. Junu smirked. The sound waves alone wrecked the place. This buff is insane, but I can already tell it comes with some nasty side effects. Just like he figured, pulling this off meant he needed the diamond body trait to stay in one piece. That would toughen him up, or he could use undefeated for crazy healing. Only problem? Both of those are super rare top-tier traits. He could snag them from gear like usual, but he was completely broke on diamonds. The lack of gems was giving him a serious headache. But it didn't take long for Junu to hatch a plan. He knew where the stash was, so he went for it. But the second he arrived, he got some trash news. The place was totally bone dry. Chunbok sighed and told him they were empty. No restock until next month. When he heard that, Junu started to low-key lose it. A month is way too long. Then Chunbok leaned in and whispered, "Look, you want to head to the mines and dig some yourself?" Junsu was floored. He had played this game for ages, but he definitely didn't remember this part of the story. Chunbok got quiet again. "This trip is strictly off the books, kid. You in or you out?" Junu didn't even blink. I'm down, let's go. That night, the city streets were packed and the whole vibe was electric. Chunbok took the wheel and started talking in a low voice. You know, getting diamonds isn't exactly a walk in the park, right? Risks are part of the deal. Jun Su just nodded. Chunbok gestured forward. Look ahead. If this feels too sketchy, you can still bail while you have the chance. Jun Su didn't get why the old man was being so dramatic until he looked up. They were rolling straight into the Bun district. The car didn't even slow down. That's when it clicked. Junu finally realized exactly where they were headed. The ultimate deathmatch zone for superhumans. The biggest, nastiest underground arena in the entire capital city. It's raw, one-on-one cage fighting. Once you're inside that ring, you can bleed all you want, but losing isn't an option. They pulled up to a fancy building in Bun and headed straight for the basement level. The crowd was screaming their heads off. Jun Su scanned the room and muttered, "Damn, this place is massive." Chunbok looked surprised. "Wait, you've heard of this place?" Junu just shrugged. "Yeah, I've heard some things. Aren't you a regular here?" Chunbok gave a little laugh and made a face. "All right, you caught me." Junsu always wondered where the old guy found such rare loot. Turns out, this was his secret source. Now that he thought about it, Chunbok's lore in the game was always kind of sus. Then the old man spoke. "Look, I didn't bring you here to fight in the ring." Junu smirked and whispered, "But this is part of the plan, isn't it?" Chunbok gave a stiff nod. "True, nothing's free. But if you want diamonds fast, this is your best bet. The rules are basic. Winner keeps the diamonds. The loser, they have to blow up their own magic circle to forge more." Junsu's face went totally dark when he heard that. In plain English, that's a total reset of all your hard-earned experience. After a quiet moment, he finally spoke up. "So I'm basically gambling my life. High risk, high reward, huh?" Chunbok gave a slow nod. "That's exactly it. If you're not feeling it, we can bounce." But Junsu just grinned. "Leave? Please. Where do I sign my life away?" This was the ultimate way to farm diamonds. Chunbok immediately hopped on it. "I'll handle the paperwork since I referred you." Junsu squinted at him. "And what's your cut in all this?" "Well," Chunbok beamed, "you get half the cash. The rest covers the house fees and my little finder's fee." Junsu didn't mind. He just said, "Fine by me. Let's see what this place is all about." So Junsu stepped into the ring. His opponent was this absolute tank of a guy who charged him like a total psycho over and over. The big guy was getting ticked off. He screamed, "Quit running like a little coward and fight me. I'm gonna turn you into a grease spot with one punch." But Junu just let out a cold, sharp laugh. "You talk way too much. My turn now, right?" He popped his giant strength trait and buried a fist right in the guy's jaw. Boom, one-hit knockout. The mountain of a man just folded. Obviously, Junsu took the win. Chunbok came running over. "Incredible! That's a 5-win streak, kid." Junu grinned. "I'm guessing you're sitting on a mountain of diamonds now, all thanks to yours truly." Chunbok happily massaged his shoulders with a massive grin. "Not just gems, kid. We are talking major bank, too. So, what are you doing with today's haul?" Kim Junu took a second to think it over. "Probably just grab some fresh gear." Chunbok's eyes went wide. "All you care about is power, huh?" Kim Junu gave a chill nod. "Duh. In Araxan, your power is literally your social status. No way he was going to be some low-level loser getting played." Then Chunbok chimed in. "Hey, looks like someone just called you out." Kim Junu looked up, surprised. "Who is it?" Chunbok acted casual. "Some level 4 superhuman called the King of Destruction." Even for a pro fighter, hearing that name made Kim Junu's heart skip a beat. Chunbok knew this was heavy and warned him. "This guy is bad news. You can totally skip this." But Kim Junu knew exactly who that was and signed up instantly. A minute later, he was stepping back into the spotlight. The crowd was absolutely losing it. This massive, masked freak was already waiting for him on the stage. He stood there soaking up the cheers like a total egomaniac. This was the King of Destruction, level 4 superhuman. The King of Destruction looked at him and laughed. "Didn't think you actually had the guts to show up, kid. You must be straight up crazy." Meanwhile, Kim Junu was sizing him up, looking for any kind of opening. This King of Destruction guy was on a whole different level of dangerous. An SR-rank beast who specialized in brawling, with insane strength and elite combat skills. In a street fight, he's the apex predator with 3 high-level traits. But even gods can bleed. In the game, this dude was level 5, but here he was just a level 4. Plus, Kim Junu was starting to think the diamond reward for this fight was kind of trash. Right in that moment, the King of Destruction charged, yelling like a psycho. "I'm gonna wipe that stupid smirk right off your face. get ready to be ground beef, crying like a baby on the floor. Then, he started swinging like a madman. But Kim Junu danced around every punch. He wasn't even sweating. He just smirked and talked trash back. Funny, I was going to say the exact same thing. Suddenly, the King of Destruction lunged and caught Kim Junu in a massive bear hug. But Kim Junu didn't panic. He knew this was coming. He knew this guy's background. The King of Destruction was basically a glorified wrestler. His whole move is to lift you up and slam you into the dirt. But there was one detail he missed. His opponent was Kim Junu, and he wasn't going down for anyone. Right as the big guy went for the slam, Kim Junu pulled a fast one and spun mid-air. He had stacked giant strength, super strength, and raw power. Then he timed the perfect counterattack. Kim Junu pulled off a movie-quality spin in the ring, then drove his elbow straight into the guy's gut. That one hit was so brutal, the King of Destruction literally coughed up blood. But the big guy was fast, grabbing Kim Junu's arm and throwing him into a chokehold. Too bad for him, Kim Junu saw it coming and slipped out easily. Then, he grabbed the giant by his collar and slammed him onto the mat with total force. That move unlocked the suppression trait, which put a big smile on Kim Junu's face. The King of Destruction scrambled back up, looking totally confused. "How did you do that?" Kim Junu just gave him a smirk, wondering how I saw that coming. "Too bad for you, big guy. I'm only just getting warmed up here." With suppression, he finally had all 6 basic combat traits. When you fuse them together, they evolve into one legendary unique trait: close combat. Kim Junu raised an eyebrow and grinned. "All right, let's see what you've actually got under that mask." The King of Destruction froze, totally thrown off. He frowned and muttered, "What the hell are you planning?" Before he could even process it, Kim Junu was already launching his next assault. The King of Destruction didn't dare lower his guard. He threw up his arms to block, but he couldn't help asking, "What the hell? What did you do? Your energy is completely different now." Kim Junu let out a soft laugh and winked. "You're pretty sharp. I guess that's how you got that high rank, huh?" He wasn't wrong. Most rookies entering the arena were clueless. Kim Junu shouldn't have this much battle experience, but that close combat trait turned him into a total beast. With that gear on, every regular attack triggered a massive combo, adding some serious buffs to every single hit. The King of Destruction was cornered, swinging his fist like a complete lunatic, but Kim Junu kept weaving through the chaos. Then, he actually caught the King of Destruction's fist mid-air. Using this trait let him stack all his basic skills together. That's why even a level 4 monster like him stood zero chance. Right then, Kim Junu wrapped his legs around the King of Destruction's arm and neck, locking him in a total chokehold. He smirked and said, "Tap out right now unless you want a snapped arm." The pain was hitting hard. The King of Destruction started shaking, screaming out, "I lose, I give up." Instantly, the referee shouted that Warrior Kim was the winner. Everyone was dead silent because he had actually taken the #1 spot in this level 4 tournament. Kim Junu was seriously vibing with that win. People in the stands started chanting his name and calling him the Warrior King. That cheesy nickname was honestly making him want to crawl in a hole. Then the ref announced they were starting the diamond creation process now. Kim Junu watched the King of Destruction closely, wondering if the dude would really hand over all that hard-earned power just like that. The King of Destruction bit his lip until it almost bled. He thought about it, then finally muttered that he wanted to use the special contract. The ref looked skeptical and asked if he was really sure about using that. See, the special contract was a deal the tournament bosses made when this guy first became the top dog warrior. It basically meant that if he lost, the bosses would pay the diamonds for him. But the winner had to agree. So the ref looked at Kim Junu and asked if he was down. Before he could answer, the King of Destruction cut in, promising 10 diamonds if he agreed. Kim Junu just shook his head and said that wasn't enough. Both the ref and the king were totally shocked. With high-rank powers on the line, Kim Junu knew it was time to push his luck for real. He started bargaining, saying he wanted something other than diamonds. Kim Junu said he'd take the deal if he got the Iron Fist. Instantly, a real flash of panic crossed the King of Destruction's face. He looked away and mumbled under his breath, "What Iron Fist? Way too late to play dumb now." Kim Junu had already caught that split second of total surprise on his face. He smirked. "No deal unless I get 10 diamonds and the Iron Fist." The king bit his lip, hesitating for a long minute before asking how he knew. Kim Junu didn't answer, just stayed stone cold. What is it going to be? He knew the guy couldn't say no. If he broke the magic circle for the diamonds, he would lose every single one of his skills. After thinking, the king finally gave in and agreed to hand over the Iron Fist. But you have to come back here for a rematch later on, and you have to bet that Iron Fist. Without hesitation, Kim Junu grinned and said it was a deal. We will figure out a time later. Just like that, Kim Junu snagged the Iron Fist, left the arena, and headed home. He was laughing like a maniac. Look at that glow. This thing is sick. It even cuts damage. Total game changer. Plus, Kim Junu also scored a massive mountain of diamonds. He would still have plenty left after getting a high-grade trait. So, he added the healing trait from Priest Kim's old necklace. A stream of pure magical energy started swirling all around the necklace. Kim Junu's whole body started changing. Before long, he landed a brand new trait. Immortality. He was hyped. Now I have giant strength and immortality. I just need one more to finish my triple warrior build. With that, he stashed the diamonds. He had to keep those gems safe. Just as he was celebrating, his phone started blowing up. The screen said Jinny Yang. Kim Junu frowned, remembering her as the hunter who bought that fox. A little later, Kim Junu showed up at the Hunter Guild just like Jinny requested. She led him to the top floor and thanked him for coming, saying her guildmaster was dying to meet him. Kim Junu was stoked to meet the guy too. After all, the guildmaster was famous for handing out massive rewards. They walked into a room where a guy in a black suit was waiting. He smiled and said hello. Nice to meet you. I am Jong Jin, the Hunter Guildmaster. Kim Junu just stared at the man, totally stunned. This is not the guildmaster. This guy is the freaking boss of that assassin organization. What on earth is he doing here? He stayed quiet though. He just politely shook Bong Jin's hand and muttered that it was an honor to meet him. I am Warrior Kim. Byong Jin chuckled and said the honor was all his. Then it finally hit Kim Junu. He remembered this dude only gets kicked out after a few storylines in the guild. But still, this was super weird. Right then, someone else rushed into the room, apologizing for being late. Byong Jin looked at the newcomer and asked Director Kang what was up. Is this about the cleanup? Director Kang asked, scratching his head awkwardly. I heard the legend who crushed the Mountain King was here, so I bolted. Plus, the unification tournament kicks off today anyway. Jun Su quietly scanned the man. This dude was the real deal, the actual guildmaster from the game. What is even happening right now? Director Kang walked over to say hi. I am Director Kang, but just call me Kiwook. Jun Su shook his head and laughed. No way, I cannot just use your first name. You are joking, Director Kang. Seeing them get along, Bong Jin interrupted. Look, if you two are finished with the small talk, can we get to work? Both Jun Su and Kiwook looked over as Bong Jin started speaking in a calm voice. Superhuman, we want you to join our guild as an official member. Jun Su frowned. The Hunter Guild, right? I will need to think it over. Going official sounded nice, but he was definitely suspicious of this so-called guildmaster. Bong Jin tried again. Honestly, our guild is currently building a high-level hunting ground over in Saint-Troll. To be real, our guild standing is not exactly solid right now. We only have permits for 2 zones. If anything happens to those papers, we are in a serious world of hurt. They want their own turf to hunt without all the red tape. They need a heavy hitter like Jun Su to lock that place down. It sounded pretty legit to Jun Su, but before he could say anything, Kiwook jumped right in. Guildmaster, that is not our real goal. Our leader does not just want a simple hunting ground. He wants to be a military force and build an armed kingdom in sea control. Jun Su was floored. Is not that way too much for one guild to handle? The generals in the other zones have massive private armies and serious influence. Exactly. That is why it is impossible. Kiwook nodded in agreement, but Bong Jin shut him down with a cold look. It is possible. He narrowed his eyes at Jun Su, sounding completely dead set on making his proposal. Superhuman Kim, if you lend us your strength, I will give you my position when the time comes. Jun Su frowned deeply, the leader's chair. This guy's eyes were practically on fire with pure ambition. Not wanting to lose, Kiwook chimed in with a big grin. You should just forget that noise and join us. I promise to take good care of you. Hearing that, Jin Young let out a cold, nasty laugh. Director Kang, you think I cannot do that? Kiwook scratched his head, totally flustered and speechless. Jun Su looked back and forth between her and Bong Jin. That guy is shady and totally unpredictable. If something happens to Kiwook, the person who is supposed to make me an offer later, I would be in trouble. While Jun Su was thinking, Kiwook shoved Jin Yang out of the room with a big grin. Superhuman, if you join, you even get a tax break. Plus, you can enjoy the unification tournament today. After thinking for a second, Jun Su finally made up his mind. He had to protect Kiwook, so he happily agreed. Sounds good to me. I am in. After that, Kiwook drove Jun Su. The old guy was laughing and chatting away. Haha, I definitely owe you one now. I was worried the chairman had already grabbed you, so I hurried over. Honestly, it creeps me out that he wants to be near you. Sitting in the passenger seat, listening to Kiwook ramble on forever, Jun Su let out a long, helpless sigh. The game never mentioned this guy was such a motormouth. Skeptical, he asked Director Kang why he did not just start his own private hunting ground. Kiwook answered without even thinking. That is because of the Anjian team. Jun Su was confused, so the old man explained that some members on the chairman's side only care about playing dirty politics, not the actual hunting. After hearing that, Jun Su frowned and started mumbling. So, the chairman is trying to recruit me to his side? Kiwook nodded slightly. That is right. He has it all wrong. Should he not focus on what actually matters to the guild instead of worrying about all this meaningless garbage? But lately, all the Fekio's members were sent away. Now the old man's position is looking pretty shaky. Hearing that, Jun Su felt impressed. He thought Kiwook was just some happy-go-lucky, simple kind of guy. But damn, the old guy actually has some depth. The car kept driving through the empty, desolate wasteland. A while later, they finally stopped at a camp. This was the Hunter Guild's private hunting ground. Jun Su went inside alone, looking around. He could not help but think, man, there are a ton of hunters here. Just then, Jin Yang came over to say hi. Hunter Kim, you finally made it. Were you not with Director Kang? Jun Su gave an awkward laugh and replied, yeah. He suddenly claimed he had to go use the bathroom. Before he could finish, Jin Yang shut him down cold. Listen up, I have something to tell you. Hanging out with Director Kang is a straight-up mistake. Jun Su frowned, sounding skeptical. You think I am really going to take his side? Jin Yang stayed silent, her eyes cold as ice. So you already know about the drama in our guild. Jun Su gave a small nod. Yeah, I get the gist. You guys are all over the place, Jin Yang replied flatly. Exactly. He is the type who obsesses over tiny details and misses the big picture entirely. While she talked, Jun Su was low-key watching her every move. Then he spotted it, the golden eyes and that scar. Jin Yang was definitely part of the Bun Jin assassin group. It clicked. The Jonin Guild was just the early version of that assassin squad. Jin Yang kept going, totally clueless. It is the same at the hunting grounds. He loses it over even the smallest illegal stuff. Jun Su laughed and smirked. Honestly, I kinda like that about him. He doesn't talk trash behind people's backs. He is actually super honest. That made Jin Yang look pissed. She just snorted. Whatever, man. Don't come crying to me when things go south. She turned and walked off. Jun Su stayed quiet. Now that he understood the situation, it was time to prep. Jun Su hit the resting tent, ducked into the bathroom, and smeared sunscreen all over his face. The scent of that cream was so nasty, it almost made him puke right then. But he had to deal with it. He needed that sensitive skin trait. After a long wait, he finally got it and washed the gunk off. Finally, he had all the traits he needed. Combined, they would become the ultimate attribute for hunting. The sixth sense. Jun Su grinned, knowing this skill was good for more than just tracking. It is perfect for drama like this, too. Once he was ready, Jun Su headed back outside. He whispered, maybe I should walk around and see what kind of trash these people are thinking. Suddenly, he spotted something. Two guys were giving off major killer vibes. Actually, everyone around them was doing the exact same thing. Jun Su was stunned. What the hell? Don't tell me most of these people are actually straight-up demons. While he was processing that, Kiok walked over holding 2 bottles of soju. With a goofy smile, he said, Warrior Kim, there you are. Let us grab a drink before the competition. 2 other guys were following the old man. They were his right-hand men. Both guys gave him a quick greeting. Director Kang has been hyping you up big time. Jun Su shook his head and passed. I don't think I can drink right now, because he smelled something off about Kiok's man, the thick, metallic scent of a total traitor. So Jun Su stood there grilling meat while Kiok's group ate and drank like there was no tomorrow. He let out a helpless sigh. They were having a blast, totally clueless about the spy in their midst. He had to tell Kiok, but would the old man believe a total stranger? While Jun Su was thinking, one of Kiok's men walked over and asked, Warrior Kim, mind watching the director for a bit? Jun Su nodded. Sure. By now, Kiok was totally wasted. The old man staggered over, threw an arm around Jun Su's shoulder, and started slurring his words. Warrior Kim, you liking the team building? Fun, right? Jun Su forced a fake laugh. Yeah, it is a total blast. Even more fun with a spy hanging out. The guy wasn't gone long before he came back with a case of drinks. He started pouring and announced, I will take some whiskey. Director Kang, you are down for a soju bomb, right? I will make a special one just for you, Kizoke cheered. Manager Choi makes the best drinks in the world. Manager Choi filled a glass, handed it to Kiok, and smiled. Come on, drink it down. Kiok didn't see any issue and reached for the glass. Just one shot? I am in. But then Jun Su stepped in. Hold up, you drink it first. This caught Manager Choi off guard. He asked, What are you talking about? Jun Su glared at Manager Choi and snapped, What is the problem? Is there a reason you won't drink it? The perfect time to bust a traitor is when their plan is actually happening. While pouring, Choi was radiating intense killer intent and looked incredibly nervous. In a spot like this, poison was the easiest way to take Kiok out. Jun Su shoved the glass toward him and confronted him right there. Don't tell me you put poison in this, did you? Manager Choi flinched and started panicking. What are you even saying? Stop talking absolute nonsense. Kiok looked confused too. Warrior Kim, what is wrong with you? Jun Su didn't budge, keeping his voice firm as he gave the order. If there is nothing wrong with it, then drink. Choi just stood there like an idiot, so Jun Su shoved the glass toward his face like he was going to force feed him. Sensing everything was going south, he swatted Jun Su's hand and snapped. Back off. The glass shattered, spilling everywhere, while a guilty Manager Choi just hung his head. Ko gasped at the sight. The old man roared in a total fury. You piece of trash! Manager Choi, did you seriously try to poison me? Caught red-handed, the manager finally dropped his little act. You stabbed us in the back first. The chairman told me everything. You blocked my promotion to director. During the shouting match, Choi tried to kick Kim Woo, but Jun Su was way faster. He grabbed his arm, twisted it back, and pinned him. He shoved his blade against Manager Choi's throat and scoffed. So, the betrayal is legit, huh? What should I do with you now? The guy shook like a leaf and pleaded. Wait, please spare me. Jun Su ignored the begging and looked at the fuming Soke. Or would you rather handle this mess yourself? Manager Choi tried to speak, but Kioak had already drawn his blade. Without blinking once, he brought the steel down hard. Blood sprayed everywhere like rain as Manager Choi's head was taken clean off his shoulders. Kisio wiped the splatter off his face and hissed, Idiot. I knew you were greedy, but killing me for a promotion? That is just low. After that, Kyo and the crew peeled out. Kisok was still seeing red, cursing like a sailor. That jerk Bunnin, does he really hate me that much? No wonder that coward sent all my people away. Total trash. Just then, a truck suddenly accelerated, pulling right up alongside their car. Jin Yong was the one behind the wheel. She gave a smug smirk and said, Heard you caught some decent prey. Cock's expression turned grim, but he played it cool. Yeah, just a regular catch. Jin Yong scoffed. Cut the crap and tell the truth. Word is you caught Manager Choi. Before the words even left her mouth, she pulled a gun and aimed it right at Kisio. Seeing the heat, Jun Su swapped his trait instantly. He floored the gas and bolted. It wasn't just Jin Young on their tail anymore. A whole fleet was chasing them now. Jun Su's car smashed through their line, but bullets were still flying at them like crazy from behind. Kisok wasn't backing down either. He stuck his head out of the car and roared, You damn morons, who do you think you are shooting at? Then he hurled a grenade in their direction. A massive explosion rocked the whole area, filling the sky with thick smoke and orange fire. But Jin Young's cars were still rolling. Ki grumbled, Hunter Kim, can't you slow down this ride a little bit? Jun Su just smirked and said, Want me to show you how a pro handles it? Before the confused Kisio could even figure out what he meant, Jun Su was already leaning out, shouldering a rifle and aiming it at the guys behind them. Jun Su swapped to a marksmanship trait, adding lightning damage and cutting the gun's recoil to 0. With the power of 3 traits combined, he could predict their every move and use his sixth sense to aim. Then Jun Su pulled the trigger. The bullet tore through the air, slamming into a tire and making the car swerve. He just kept shooting. One by one, the cars veered off course. Seeing this, Kizoke's right-hand man couldn't help but gasp in pure awe. He's insane. That's a god-tier shot. Kisok nodded along. Warrior Kim, you're a straight-up monster. But just then, Jin Young's car caught up. The look in her eyes was pure poison, like she wanted to skewer all of them. Jun Su swapped his trait again. He pulled a wild maneuver, slamming into Jin Young's car and catching her totally off guard. And just like that, they shook the 2 pickup trucks off. Jun Su drove with god-level skill, pulling away clean and leaving Jin Young fuming. She screamed at the top of her lungs, Damn it, get them! In the mirror, Jun Su saw 5 cars still chasing hard. He swapped to a smooth driving trait and punched it. Jun Su let out a satisfied sigh of relief, way too close for comfort. Meanwhile, The other two looked like they were about to lose their lunch. A bit later, they arrived at another base. The guards wouldn't let them in, Kiso explained. This is Warrior Kim, a rank 4 from the association, back from a hunt. The guard gave an indifferent nod. Fine, but what's with all that noise following you? Jin Young's crew had followed them just like a pack of hounds. Reaching the base, Jin Young leaped out and ordered her subordinates. Put your weapons down! The guard narrowed his eyes and gave them a warning. Any trouble on Chio turf is a direct challenge to the general. Jun Su nodded slightly. Got it. I won't cause any drama. Just then, Bong Jin showed up, screaming aggressively. Hold it! Do not let them inside! They're criminals and murderers, the guard said coolly. The Chio army doesn't interfere with business inside the hunting grounds. You know the rules, don't you, Chairman? Baijin tried to argue, but the guard's face went dark as he warned him. You really want to test the big boss of the Eastern Army? Is that your death wish? That shut Bangjin up fast. His face went white, he death-glared Coke, then bolted like a scared little rat. What? You hire a pro racer or something? Koke just shrugged and laughed, all thanks to our boy Kim. Kid is a top-tier hunter, an ace driver, and a dead shot. If I had a daughter, I would marry her off yesterday. Bong Jin lost it, snarling like a dog. Never thought a superhuman like Kim would team up with garbage like you. Things were getting way too spicy, so Jun Su stepped in. Director Kang, let us just chill out. We do not need blood on the floor, but Koke just pouted. Hard pass. Did you forget we are in Chow World? What is all this racket? Suddenly, a massive voice boomed out, making everyone jump out of their skins. A powerhouse steps out from inside. It is Hyunwoo, a rank 7 beast and general of the Eastern Army. Seeing him, everyone bowed instantly. My bad, General. We were just having a chat. Jun Su frowned, keeping a close eye on the man. So, he finally showed up. Hyunwoo glared and barked. I do not give a damn about your hunter drama. That goes for Chow, too. You think this city is your personal sandbox? Koke and Bong Jin were totally silenced by the roast. Hyunwoo kept dropping ice-cold warnings about next time. But then, his eyes locked right onto Jun Su in the middle of it. Hyunwoo just stared him down in total silence. Finally, he broke the tension and said, Forget about it. Just this one time, the Eastern Army is stepping in. Hearing that, Bong Jin practically screamed in shock. General, this is strictly internal Hunter Association business. But Hyunwoo did not budge, yelling, This is an order from the top. This rocked Coke and Bong Jin even harder than before. Hyunwoo did not explain anything. He just stated calmly, tomorrow afternoon, hold a duel of honor at City Hall. 1 fighter per side. He stared right at Jun Su while saying it. Jun Su frowned, thinking, why is this big guy eyeing me like that? Hyunwoo held the stare for a beat before looking away, his voice turning into pure ice as he spoke. The loser hands over their head willingly. If you refuse the deal, then I will be the one dealing out judgment. Next day, a massive crowd packed the City Hall plaza. It was pouring rain, adding to the whole dramatic vibe. Koke looked stressed and asked, Hunter Kim, are you sure about this? I know you volunteered, but this is getting pretty intense. Do not sweat it, Jun Su snapped, cutting him off. This whole duel is just a setup to test my skills anyway. A sudden challenge. That guy is definitely pulling the strings. The rank 8 superhuman watching silently from inside City Hall. The general of the East, Hyunwoo. Jun Su smirked to himself. Fine then. Watch closely and see what I am made of. A bit later, in the middle of the square, Jun Su and Bong Jin stepped up for their winner-take-all duel. Bong Jin narrowed his eyes, acting all cold. Such a shame, Kim. If you had just joined our association, we could have been a dream team. Hearing that, Jun Su just lost it and started laughing. He waved him off like he was swatting a fly. Yeah, but I do not roll with trash like you. That made Bong Jin grind his teeth so hard they almost cracked as he roared. If that is how you want to play it, I will just kill everyone. Then, Bong Jin let his demonic energy explode outward. The crowd screamed in terror. It is a vampire. Is he some kind of shape-shifting demon? Jun Su understood the panic. Vampires were supposed to be extinct, but he already knew about this freak and showed up totally prepared. The night before, Jun Su had asked Koke to track down something very specific for him. The old man's right-hand guy brought the stuff back, looking pretty skeptical about the whole thing. I hit every market to find as much as possible. You sure this is enough to take down a vampire? Jun Su just pouted. Manager Park, you are always in such a hurry. He began merging his attributes, and boom, Jun Su unlocked the diamond body trait. That was the final piece of the puzzle. Back in the ring, Bong Jin was frantically swinging at Jun Su like a maniac. Keeping his focus sharp, Jun Su threw up his shield to tank the incoming hits. The guy's eyes popped out in total disbelief. A puny rank 4 brat can block my attacks that easily? Jun Su just laughed. I am not weak enough to lose to a freak like you. He slashed his sword, sending Bongjin flying back. He gritted his teeth, whispering, "What is this power?" No way he was hiding his actual rank this whole time. This is the legendary game-breaking combo, a perfect trinity of the highest tier traits in the world. And Jun Su has every single one of them. It maxes out giant power. Mix that with diamond body and immortality, game over. With the momentum on his side, Jun Su charged again, unleashing a brutal assault that forced Bongjin onto his back foot. In a literal blink, Bongjin's claws got sliced right off. His eyes flashed red while he screamed like a psycho. If it's going down this way, I'm all in. Right then, Byung-jin's body started warping. Sharp fangs sprouted in seconds, and a nasty new set of claws tore through. Gross limbs even popped out of his back. Seeing that freak show made Keok's guys outside mutter in total horror. No way. A straight-up mutant. This is a demon's second form triggered by mutation. Use it, and you risk losing your mind to the beast. But once he wakes up, he's got enough juice to trash a whole squad of level 5s. That is why we gotta end him before he peaks. Right then, the mutated freak launched his first strike. Kim Jun-soo swung back with black flames, but the monster's pincers just crushed them. Kim was legit shook by that. He's tanking my black flames. If he hits full power, he'll blow right past level 7 for sure. Suddenly, one of those legs whipped out. Kim couldn't move fast enough and got slammed hard into the dirt. He spat out a mouthful of blood, thinking, what kind of insane, monstrous power is this guy packing now? Seeing his chance, Beyond Jin charged back in like a psycho. He gloated, I really hate doing this, Kim. Hard to believe I have to waste such a talent myself. A dozen sharp limbs shot straight at Kim all at once. With a huge boom, the whole floor shattered into pieces, sending a massive cloud of dust and smoke everywhere. Beyond Jin stood tall, flexing over the wreckage. He thought he had won, but a heavy sigh from the smoke stopped him cold. Kim climbed out of the rocks, scoffing, damn, that actually almost killed me for a second there. Those iron fists from the King of Destruction suddenly appeared on his hands. Beyond, Jin screamed in total shock, what the hell? That power should have erased you. Probably, but my flames were low-key stopping you from going full-on demon this whole time. Kim let out a little laugh and said, you finished? Then I guess it's my turn to play, right? Since your evolution stalled out, there is only one move left. Before you finish changing, I just gotta slit your throat. Thinking that, Kim let a slash fly. A blinding blade of light went screaming forward through the air. He smirked and just said, later, freak. Beyond, Jin watched in pure terror as that glowing blade rushed him. There was zero he could do before getting sliced right in two. When the light died, a massive crack split the earth and Jin was dust. Keok's guys rushed Kim, cheering their heads off. You actually toasted a level 5 vampire. I saw it myself and still don't believe it. You are straight up insane, man. On the flip side, Bayon Jin's crew was panicking hard and totally lost. Jin Yang looked just as messed up. She never even dreamed Jin could get bodied like that. Kim didn't care. He looked at Keok and asked, what's the plan for the Hunters Association? Keok thought about it for a second before suggesting, why don't you just become the president of the whole association? Kim just shook his head a bit and declined, no way. The director knows the place best, so I trust you to handle things. Suddenly, Hong Wang walked up and said, Kim, follow me. The general wants to see you. Hearing that, Kim smirked. Just like he figured, Jam had been watching the whole fight unfold. A bit later, inside the Hong Palace, someone was already there waiting for him to arrive. Once Kim walked in, he bowed his head to show respect, saying, greetings, I am Warrior Kim. Then he looked at the guy center stage. This was General Jam of the Hang. I thought he would be over 100, but he does not look it at all. While Kim was spacey, Jam suddenly spoke up. Honestly, your fighting style is actually pretty refreshing to see. So, who was your master? Even without using his mana, the dude's vibe alone was heavy and totally overwhelming. Kim took a breath and calmly said, I don't have a master. Jam sounded shocked. You don't? You taught yourself? The two guys sitting next to him chimed in as well. Your movements are definitely not standard at all. Your sword skills are basic at best and your footwork is messy. Kim was getting pretty annoyed by that talk. Jam just kept on talking. The more I watch you, the more interesting you get. Have you thought about becoming my disciple instead? It was an offer he kind of saw coming. In the game, if you picked the warrior class, you would get this same deal. Becoming Jam's student would make you crazy strong, and the big prize was the martial arts of the Hong Sword General. But this time around, Jun Su just bowed his head and said no. I'm honored, but I want to walk my own path on my own feet. His words shocked everyone there. They screamed, he's actually turning down Father's big offer? Have you lost your mind? Kim just stood there quiet. If he took the deal, it would come with way too many rules. Taking the easy way out is usually a trap. Jam stayed quiet, but the crowd would not shut their traps, making him snap. He unleashed a massive aura and roared, "Shut it! Every last one of you! Close your mouths." The sheer weight of his presence made everyone's heads spin. Even Kim Junu felt his body getting crushed. The raw pressure from this guy felt like it would grind me to dust. But I can handle it thanks to my trait. Jam was actually shocked to see Kim Junu standing tall against his bloodlust. He pulled back the pressure and said coolly, "You can take it, you have talent, so why won't you be my student?" Kim Junu shook a little, feeling like he was staring down a tiger the size of a whole mountain. He took a massive breath and said firmly, "I have a dream to become a level 9 superhuman on my own." He wanted to reach the rank of a constellation, a spot only 4 others ever hit. Jam was stunned by that. He spoke slowly. To hit level 9, you need to master advanced sword skills and get some real deal training. You need clarity more than anything. By level 7, your own bad habits will probably start dragging you down. But Kim Junu stood his ground and said, "I don't care if it's right or wrong. I'm walking my own path." That was just how he rolled. Hearing that, Jam couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Excellent! I respect that crazy spirit of yours." Then, he grabbed the sword next to him and flipped it toward Kim Junu. The whole room was floored. As Kim Junu stared at the blade in his hands, his eyes sparkled like absolute stars. This was an SSR grade item, the Black Tiger Sword. Kim Junu was still dazed and had no clue what was up. Jam spoke up again. "Get over here and take this too." Kim Junu followed orders and held out his hands to receive the gift. Jam said slowly, "This is the Hong Sword style." He knew Kim Junu's fighting style was all about raw, brute strength. The Hoang style is no different. It mixes power and speed, so it should be a perfect fit for you. It all happened so fast that Kim Junu just stood there, totally stunned, before he could find his words. "Thanks, General, but why give me all this?" He wasn't complaining, but getting this much loot at once was a lot of pressure. Jam just gave a casual smile and said, "I'm gifting this because I see your drive and your massive potential. If you can hit level 9 within 10 years, heck, even level 8, the whole Eastern Army will be yours." As soon as he said that, Kim Junu's jaw dropped. Honestly, every other person in the room was just as shocked. They all started complaining. "General, this is crazy. He's just an outsider." But Jam wasn't budging at all. He shouted, "Listen up. Anyone here who reaches level 8 will inherit my spot." That definitely shut the crowd up quick. Jam looked at Kim Junu. "You've got 10 years. During that time, do whatever you want, but if you don't hit level 8, you're returning that Black Tiger Sword." Hearing that, Kim Junu gripped the hilt of his sword even tighter. After a long pause, he knelt and said seriously, "I'll remember this, and I'll show you my results in 15 years. Kim Junu didn't actually want to lead the Eastern Army, but keeping that offer open was a pretty smart move. Besides, it's just rude to turn down a gift. Anyway, the next day, Kim Junu finally made it back to the city. Chilling at the Hunter Association HQ, Kiok started laughing. "Guess who's going to be known as Lord Black Tiger from now on? But for real, why'd you reject his offer to be his student?" Junu just shrugged and gave a casual answer. "Oh, I just have this dream of making it on my own. To collect all 3 divine swords, I can't be tied down to any big organization." Vivek Seol had the right connections, so all he really had to do was wait for her to wake up as the Mars warrior. But Junu still hadn't run into Janet or Callie yet. Just thinking about it made him let out a long, heavy sigh. Kiok, totally clueless about the plan, just laughed. "Haha, you're a total original. If it weren't for you, this association would be in deep crap right now." As he was talking, the old man suddenly stopped. He grabbed Junu's hand and looked him straight in the eyes. "Seriously, since you turned down the chairman spot, why not at least become our honorary director?" Junu's brow furrowed in concern when he heard that. "An honorary director? Really?" Kiok nodded and explained, "You just show up for quarterly meetings. All your perks and benefits stay exactly the same." Junu narrowed his eyes. Was this that dream gig where you basically get paid for doing absolutely nothing at all? Since he didn't answer, Kiok tried to sweeten the pot. "Look, we knew that wasn't enough, so we've got something else for you." Junu's eyes instantly lit up. Kiok pulled out a suitcase, and inside were two sleek long-range guns. Kiok introduced them with excitement. These are Dan guns. Junu stared at the weapons, feeling totally hyped. Legends say this mad scientist, Dawson Jung Yakyung, whipped up these pieces back in the Joseon era. Kyo saw Junu's eyes light up and grinned. Take them. Both guns our association has are yours. Thinking big? You should definitely hunt for the complete Dan gun set, snag all 5, and you can forge the ultimate Dan grimoire. Junu already knew the deal. That divine artifact was basically a cheat code for any high-level marksman build. No doubt, he was going to grab every single one. Kyoak watched him, gave a quick wink, and said, "So, we got a deal." With the director title and perks locked in, Jun Su wasn't saying no. He gave a happy nod. "I am in your hands, Director Kang. Or should I say, Chairman Kang." After chatting with the old man, Jun Su dipped back to his place and hit the basement for some sword practice. In record time, Jun Su had already hit stage 4 of the Wagwang style. He trained like a beast, his blade carving light through the air. Mastering Huaguang was all about mana control. Nail the moves, and your sword's aura flows as one. Junu took a long breath, cleared his head, and ripped his blade from its sheath again. Boom! A massive flash of light erupted, turning the room into a chaotic mess of smoke and fire. Once the dust settled, a giant crack split the thick wall. Junsu just stood there, totally floored. This power is wild, but I need way more reps to master it. That Black Fox sword really cranks up the aura output. But that wasn't the only win. Jun Su smirked, having unlocked 2 new traits, Quick Draw and Lonely Moon. He yelled out in excitement. Bagging 2 traits like this makes all that soul-crushing training totally worth it. He was right on the edge of the Foxmaster trait. Only 2 more to go now. He wanted to keep grinding, but decided to hit the roof and chill instead. Too bad his life is never that simple. A noise downstairs made him grumble. What the hell? I just started my break. A black car screeched to a halt at his gate, and some guy came stumbling out. It was Iron Fist, missing an arm and covered in blood. He choked out, "Warrior Kim, please help me! Save my little brother." Seeing Iron Fist so beat up left Jun Su in a state of total shock. He bolted downstairs and asked, "What happened to you?" Later that night, they met up on a rooftop. After hearing the story, Jun Su frowned. "So your own boys backstabbed you to start their own crew?" Iron Fist nodded, his jaw tight. "They were secretly running a human trafficking ring behind my back," he spat. "They were ticked off because I disciplined the leaders." Hearing that, Jun Su just scowled and fired back. "I doubt that is the only reason." Iron Fist looked confused, but Jun Su was already using his trait to scan the area. Even though Iron Fist got played in the game, Jun Su remembered it all ended once he cleared out the human hunters. Even with Iron Fist being hurt, the enemy still posted guards everywhere. That probably meant the guy they were actually after was him, not Iron Fist. The 2 human hunter brothers, that crazy bomber and the demolition freak, were likely in on this too. Jun Su immediately suggested a plan. "I will hit the front gate. While I am causing chaos, you go find your brother." Iron Fist totally panicked. "The front gate? That is a total death trap. What are you thinking, man?" Jun Su just smirked. "Trust me, I am level 4 now. You know how I roll." Then, he pulled his piece. Just like he said, Jun Su walked right through the main entrance without a single care in the world. Seeing him, the guys lying in wait got ready. Their leader laughed. This idiot actually just walked up. Junu narrowed his eyes at the guy and hissed, "So you are the one who betrayed Kim Iron Fist." The guy just glared back. "Wasn't a betrayal. Kim Iron Fist is the one who turned on the whole gang." Jun Su spoke coldly. "Even so, human trafficking is crossing a line, don't you think?" He aimed his weapon. The man just laughed, looking smug. "What now?" "This armor is bulletproof, you moron. Shoot me." "Suit yourself." Jun Su replied with a cold smirk and fired his gun directly into the man's chest. The round punched straight through the armor and slammed right into the guy's body. The guy stumbled back, gasping in shock. "How? How can one bullet pierce my tactical armor?" Jun Su looked totally smug. The Dasen gun in his hand was legendary for piercing through every single kind of defensive skill. That smug look set the traitor off. He screamed, "Who the hell do you think you're looking at? Blow him away!" A wall of lead flew at Jun Su, but he danced around it and reloaded to fire back. His first piece from the Hunter Association was a Dawson. This thing was built for one thing, total destruction. Jun Su didn't hold back, unloading on the squad. It shredded everything in its path, sending those punks straight to hell. But power wasn't enough. Jun Su stacked traits specifically for a pro gunslinger build. He wiped those losers out like it was nothing. He even had the ricochet shot trait now. Finally, his ultimate gunslinger build was complete. He grinned. Time to mow these guys down, then I'm coming for the cowards, pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Just like that, Jun Su started putting on a total clinic in expert marksmanship. He rained lead on them. Not even bulletproof vests could stop rounds from this beastly Dawson gun. They dropped like flies. In seconds, the whole squad was wiped out, leaving only one terrified survivor. The guy shook on the floor, staring at Jun Su like he was some demon, but he didn't care. He laughed. You're too pathetic to be the mastermind. Tell me where your bosses are hiding, now. Before the rat could talk, a phone on the ground buzzed. Jun Su answered, greeted by a mocking voice on the line. Warrior Kim, I sent a little gift your way. Jun Su frowned, totally confused. A gift? What now? Before he could process that, something heavy came flying right at his head. A massive explosion rocked the room, filling the air with fire and smoke. The whole basement started to cave in. Thankfully, Jun Su triggered a trait and escaped the blast. He cleared the basement just as the building started to crumble. Jun Su grit his teeth in pure rage. These psychos used a whole building as a trap? Time to school them. He used his sixth sense to sniff out the mana. Their location pinged instantly. Jun bolted toward the next building with a confident smirk. Go ahead and hide. I could find you guys with my eyes closed, but as he moved in, something zipped toward him. Kim Jun Su dodged it, and the projectile smashed into the wall behind him, exploding on contact. Looking at the smoking rubble, Kim Jun Su was getting seriously annoyed. He bit his lip and muttered, So, they're playing dirty? Fine. I'm ending this whole mess right now, once and for all. He pulled out his sniper rifle and toggled his sharpshooter trait. He took aim without a second thought, wearing a cocky grin. With these traits, it's basically just a video game. Sure enough, he quickly spotted the two enemies hiding nearby. He smirked and pulled the trigger. The bullet ripped through the air, landing a perfect headshot on one of them. Seeing his buddy drop, the other guy completely lost his cool. He caught his friend, muttering in a panic. How? We were hidden between buildings. How is he still hitting us? Meanwhile, Jun Su kept them locked in his scope. He smirked. Better run and hide, little boys. Walls won't save you now. These rounds could pierce any object, hitting targets even when they were completely out of sight. Then Jun Su squeezed the trigger again. The bullet curved wildly through the air. A direct hit. It punched right through the second guy's skull, but Jun Su knew he wasn't quite dead yet. This shot targeted the soul, not the body. But this was better. The others would finish them off. As they collapsed, Tae Queen arrived. As he stood there thinking, a voice suddenly shouted from behind him, Boss! Tae Queen turned to see his squad approaching. The guy in the middle was carrying a young boy on his back. Tae Queen's face lit up. You guys are actually alive. One of his men stepped forward to explain. We did our best to keep your brother safe. Tae Queen smiled. You guys, you have no idea how worried I was. Seeing the kid sleeping soundly on his soldier's back, Tae Queen finally let out a long sigh of relief. He asked, Where's everyone else? His subordinate reported, The prisoners all made it out safely, sir. So what now, boss? Tae Queen thought for a second. First, we clean up this entire mess. But first, we handle those two punks who had the guts to mess with my crew. Seeing the survivors, Tae Queen walked over with a dark look that made them shake with fear. Meanwhile, Kim Jun Su was waiting around the corner for Tae Queen, but he was nowhere in sight. He muttered, Man, what's taking Tae Queen so long? Suddenly, a voice spoke up from behind, making him jump. He spun around just as the guy sprinted up and collapsed on his knees right there. Kim Junu looked totally lost. What the hell is this? Thiet Queen kept his head down, hesitated, then finally muttered under his breath. Please, Warrior Kim, show me how to get strong like you. This whole mess hit home for Thiet Queen. To protect his family, he needed serious power. Right now, he was a weakling. He promised Kim Junu he would serve him forever if he just taught him. Kim Junu stood there stunned for a second, then just clicked his tongue. If the guy was so thankful, a fat payday would have worked fine. He didn't really want a lifelong servant, but he could not deny the truth. Thiet Queen actually had the potential to be a way bigger beast than he was now. Since Kim stayed quiet, the guy kept pushing. I will even sign a magic contract to prove I will obey your every word. Kim narrowed his eyes, asking him if he was for real. Thiet Queen nodded without a second of hesitation. Of course, absolutely. A nasty grin spread across Kim's face. All right, fine. Starting tomorrow, prepare to face death. Hearing that, the guy immediately slammed his head to the floor. From now on, I am your shadow. After that brutal fight, the sun was finally starting to rise. The whole place was just a heap of rubble. Kim and Theat Queen were walking off toward somewhere. While walking, the guy muttered, "Is this that body mod facility we snatched?" Kim just gave him a quick nod. "Correct, and the traders use this spot for their human trafficking ring." Hearing that, the guy yelled out in horror, "I told those scumbags to only use this place for storage. Please do not tell me you are going to modify me." Kim just shrugged. Bingo. This spot is perfect for beefing up superhumans with modular power sets. Today, you are getting biological mods and prosthetic implants at the exact same time. Theat Queen flinched, totally panicking. Doing both at once? Is that not incredibly dangerous? Plenty of people lose control of their mana doing that, but before he could even finish, Kim cut him off with a wave and a nasty grin. Relax. As long as the mod serum and the robot parts are compatible, you will be totally fine. So, the two of them walked deeper into the facility until they stopped in the basement. Kim made the guy climb into the experimental chamber while he worked the controls from the outside. They were low on supplies, but it was plenty to juice up a level 3 warrior. The theory for upgrading warriors was basic. The real trick was knowing how to mix the right combinations. Kim looked at Theat Queen and gave him a fair warning. "This is gonna hurt like hell. You ready?" The guy just nodded. "Do it." Hearing that, Kim grinned. "Then let us get this party started." His fingers began clicking away on the mouse. Suddenly, mana started swirling inside the chamber. The guy took a deep breath, trying to stay calm as a saw blade slowly moved toward him. A second later, it sliced right into his body. The sheer pain made Theat Queen scream his head off. For close combat, he would use the prosthetic weapon, then switch to a machine gun for mid-range fights. Instead of just picking close or long-range parts, choosing the right dexterity trait would finally let the guy transform into a straight-up demon. For the final touch, Kim tossed in a magic core. Instantly, the whole chamber lit up with a blinding flash. Some fluid was pumped inside fast, injecting itself straight into the guy's body. Right then, his whole body started morphing. Kim waited outside, holding his breath, until a satisfied smirk finally spread across his face. This was it. The experiment was a massive success. The chamber door slowly began to slide open. A pair of claws reached out, followed by a jaw full of razor-sharp teeth. Theat Queen had become a mutant wolf. Kim's lips curled into a grin as he asked how it felt. "You liking the new you, Theat Queen?" The werewolf mutagen, the mana, and the prosthetics combined to trigger a mutation. It was a necessary step to make a warrior way stronger. And Kim had used it all on Theat Queen. He watched him closely, raising an eyebrow with a cocky smirk. "Now that you have started evolving, you will have no trouble reaching your goals." The guy just laughed, totally overjoyed. "Oh man, thank you. Thank you so much. So, what is the plan now?" Kim thought for a second before making a suggestion. "Why do you guys not start expanding your influence across all of Area 1? He needed a crew to keep order and watch the other villain gangs." Right then, someone came rushing in from the outside. Theat Queen turned to them. "You guys." But when they saw what he looked like now, they froze. The men started trembling. "Is that really you?" "Boss, what the heck happened to your voice?" The Queen replied coldly. "I just got an upgrade, enhanced my body." "Whatever. Skip that. Why are you clowns here?" The guy rushed to explain. "We tracked the human transport path used by that traitor Kazoom Boom. Found some creepy lab evidence too, but the base is totally locked down. There is some kid mage firing lasers and guarding the place." The Queen looked annoyed. "A young mage?" Behind him, Kim Junu stayed silent. This sounded exactly like the person he was hunting for. Near that spot, a building was getting totally trashed. Holes everywhere in the walls, and some tiny, weak girl was huddled in a cage. Iron Fist and Kim Junu rolled up and saw the absolute wreckage everywhere. Iron Fist just sighed. Did that mage do all this? If they did not move fast, the whole place was going down. No doubt about it with that kind of power. Sitting in that cage was one of the 3 strongest warriors in the whole game, Janet. If Baek Soy had the heavenly killing star, Janet was born with pure energy. That raw talent let the kid rise up and take her place as a top 3 player. But the truth was, using that power nonstop meant Janet was now dying from total mana exhaustion. Janet was just reacting to protect herself. While Jun Su was lost in thought, mana bolts suddenly blasted out of the cage right at him in Iron Fist. Iron Fist dodged quickly, cursing as he tried not to get hit. Ugh, we cannot even get close to her. But Kim Junu just charged in, ignoring the mana bolts aimed at his face. The mana exploded with a massive boom. Seeing that, Janet finally stopped her attack from inside the cage. Right then, Kim Junu reached the cage and started bending the iron bars with his bare hands. It hurt like hell, but he kept going to save her. Then Janet raised her hand to strike. Kim Junu got caught off guard as another explosion rocked the cage, filling the room with thick smoke and dust. Iron Fist was freaking out watching from the sidelines, but before he could react, a potion bottle flew out of the smoke. Kim Junu stepped out of the haze, cradling Janet in his arms. He finally let out a long sigh of relief. Almost got fried there. Iron Fist ran over all happy, ready to talk, but Kim Jun Su quickly told him to shut it. I used a potion to chill her out. We gotta move before the effects wear off. Iron Fist said he would get his guys to a hospital, but Kim Junu just shook his head. No, she is coming to my place. I will handle her treatment myself. Later at the house, Baek Soy showed up at the basement with her gear, grinning. Master, I am here. Kim Jun Su looked her over, then finally spoke after a long silence. You finally hit level 3. Baek Soy smiled and said, I knew you would notice that. So, what is on the lesson plan today? Kim Junu scratched his head, looking a little bit awkward. Things are a bit messy, but my second apprentice candidate is not doing so great right now. He looked over at Janet resting in a chair. Baek Soy saw her and rushed over to check. Oh my god, what happened to this poor girl? Kim Jun Su explained that she just cannot control her powers right now. He wanted to train Janet and unlock her true potential. He asked Baek Soy if she could look after the girl. Baek Soy agreed instantly. If it is for you, senior, then obviously I will do whatever you need. So she moved into the house. A few days later in the basement, Kim Junu and Baek Soy were constantly attacking Janet for days on end. Her mana kept flaring up to protect her body. Between attacks, Baek Soy asked, Master, how much longer do we have to do this? It has been a week. Kim Junu was speechless. He just kept hitting her with everything he had. Finally, the IV bag was almost drained. Kim Junu finally spoke up. Her mana is almost gone. She will wake up any second now. Don't stop. They fought a bit longer until their hard work paid off. Janet's mana finally stopped leaking out. She slowly opened her eyes, looking totally dazed by everything. Janet mumbled in confusion, Where am I? Baek Soy ran over with a huge smile. Hey, you are awake. I was so scared you would never wake up. Are you okay? Janet shook her head. No, I think I am fine. But where am I? Why am I even here? Baek Soy pointed at Kim Junu. That guy over there saved your life. He is the one who treated your wounds. Janet stood up and bowed to Kim Jun Su. Thank you for saving me. My name is Janet. Kim Jun Su just shook his head. No big deal. Glad you are okay. But why were you locked in that cage? Hearing that, Janet sounded totally crushed. She whispered, My parents died trying to break out of that eye-long magic tower. I got caught. Hearing this, Bagoy felt straight up gutted. But Kim Junu? He didn't even blink. It matched the game's plot perfectly. Jun Su walked up to her, keeping it real. Janet, if you are homeless, just stay here with us. Truth is, I want to take you under my wing as my student. Janet froze. Me? Jun Su gave a slow nod. You can finally get payback for your parents' deaths. I'll show you how to become superhuman. She bit her lip, whispering, But I don't have anything to give you. Forget about it. Junu smiled and shook his head. Just pay me back once you have actually gotten strong. Janet paused, eyes getting all watery. But a second later, she looked up with total fire in her eyes. Yes, please make me superhuman. I swear I will make it up to you. Junu gave her a slight nod. Bet, I am holding you to that. He was hyped inside. Janet was a 1 in a million talent. He'd teach her one of the top 3 most broken sword skills in the whole game. While he was lost in thought, a bolt of mana suddenly shot toward him. It zipped right past his ear and smashed the wall behind him, causing a huge explosion. Janet panicked. I am so sorry. My bad. Bagui jumped in to calm her down. Relax. Nobody got hurt. Junu just shook his head, feeling totally helpless. He sighed. Janet, first we gotta get that mana under control. She nodded. Yes, sir. Right after that, Junu started explaining exactly what her special attribute was. Your attribute is called innate energy. You have any idea what that actually means? Janet just gave a small shrug. No, sir. But Baek Soy jumped in. I know. It is like sword chi, right? Jun Su slowly explained. This attribute is basically like the heavenly killing star. He told Janet she had to bulk up her body to handle the mana. Think about it, if the pipes are too tiny, the water just cannot flow through properly. Janet hesitated, mumbling, Do you really think a girl like me can actually get stronger? Junu didn't miss a beat. For sure, I will even teach you one of my own attributes. He was using this chance to test out that conversion system. This was the same tech he would use later to copy swordsmanship from both Bake Soy and Janet. The golden body attribute toughens up both the user's physical body and their mental state. That is exactly what a traumatized kid like Janet needs to heal her mind and body. Right then, Janet spoke up, sounding totally hyped. Master, where do we start? Jun Su gave a wicked grin and yelled back, Where do we start? You are going to eat everything in sight. The training is going to be absolute hell, so you better fuel up. So, Bake Soy and Janet stuffed their faces. 2 weeks later, down in Kim Junu's private basement, the girls were sparring like absolute maniacs. Gone was that frail, weak look. Janet was now bursting with energy. Becco Yi wasn't about to get left behind, though. She had leveled up her game significantly, too. Junu watched them from the sidelines, feeling seriously impressed. It had only been 2 weeks, and they had already reached this insane level. Typical natural-born geniuses. Bake Soy had even unlocked a new swordsmanship attribute already. Thinking that, Junu called out, All right, that is plenty. I am taking her to work on something different now. Janet is tough enough now. It is time to see if she can actually block my attacks. The second he finished talking, he lunged with his sword. Janet didn't dare slack off and caught it with her shield. Jun Su kept the pressure on, forcing her to stay on the defensive. Before long, they were trading heavy blows. Jun Su could really feel it now. Her movements were smooth, her aura was steady, and the mana from her innate energy was pulsing perfectly. With that in mind, he raised his sword and swung again. The slash ripped through the air with insane speed. Janet got knocked back, but Jun Su just grinned, feeling totally satisfied. Janet could finally control her mana perfectly. Right then, Bake Soy rushed over and hugged her. You actually did it, Janet. That is awesome. Congrats on your awakening, Junu said, sounding genuinely proud of her. Janet smiled back. Thank you, sir. I could not have done it without you and her. SSR-ranked characters are seriously built different. Just like the rumor said, hitting level 3 immediately after awakening. Honestly, knowing her, it was not even that surprising. Bake Soy piped up. No way I am letting a rookie outshine me. I am going hunting right now. Hearing that, Janet chased after her. Hold up. I am coming with you. Naturally, Junu was pretty stoked to see this scene play out. The quicker these kids level up, the faster they learn those top-tier sword arts, and I am not about to let them outpace me. Kim Jun Su stared at his phone, zoned out for a minute before finally breaking the silence. Before my students kick off their personal quests, I have got some loose ends to tie up. Fast forward a few days. Deep in the mountains, Kim Jun Su finally touches down after his flight. Welcome to Aiken, ground zero for the Holy War. Underneath these weird shell buildings is a massive interdimensional maze where the souls of forgotten gods are basically always trying to break in and kill everyone. Luckily, Aiken is guarded by the heavy hitters of the Guardian Alliance, so nothing to sweat over. I am only here to snag that class advancement for my enhancer cultivation technique. After walking for a bit, Kim Jun Su finds himself outside a dive bar called Diana's. He steps inside, and there she is. The woman behind the bar gives him a look and speaks up. New face, huh? You looking for a drink or something special? Kim Jun Su just gives her an icy stare. Do you sell intel with those drinks? She looks confused. Information? What exactly are you after? Kim Jun Su stays cool and calm. I am looking for Sigmund Sigerson, and yeah, I have got the cash to pay for it. The woman looks totally shocked. She pauses for a long beat, then stammers. Look, that might be a tough ask right now. His wife is basically on her deathbed. Kim Jun Su's face tightens as he processes the news. Then it clicks. The game lore mentioned Sigmund had a tragic backstory with a wife who did not make it. Kim Jun Su speaks up immediately. Look, can I just see her for a second? Cut to a house on the edge of town. The woman from Diana's has led him right to the front door. She whispers to him. All right, you can head on in. Just be careful. Sigmund is on edge and super sensitive right now. Kim Jun Su just nods, totally getting the vibe. The woman slowly pushes the door open and creeps inside. Mr. Sigmund? Sorry to bother you, but there is someone here who wants to check on your wife's condition. They walk in and see 2 priests hovering over the bed, performing some kind of weird ritual. The woman lets out a breath she did not know she was holding. Good, she has already got company. Thank God. Looks like the priests are already on the case. Maybe we should just back off for now. She barely gets the words out before Kim Jun Su lunges and grabs the priest's arm. The priest jumps, yelling, Hey, what do you think you are doing? Get your hands off me. Can't you see I am in the middle of a holy healing ritual? These guys were from the Thor and Jur orders. Both have decent healing stats, pretty much identical. But Kim Jun Su's voice is like ice. That healing is trash. All that holy light is just going to make her worse. Trust me. The Thor priest loses it and snaps back at him. What the hell do you know? You are just some random kid. Before Jun Su can even clap back, Sigmund barks an order from the corner. Enough, both of you, get out. What would a weird hunter like, you know? The woman from Diana's tries to jump in and smooth things over. Wait, Sigmund. This guy. He says he knows how to save Jordis. But Sigmund just blows up at her. Every second counts for her right now. Suddenly, Jordis starts floating off the bed. Sigmund freaks out and rushes toward her in a total panic. Jordis, no. We are trying to save you. Just hang on. Jun Su tries to stop them, but it is too late. The priest keeps dumping holy light into her body anyway, and just like that, she is launched even higher into the air. Sigmund looks terrified as a dark, oily aura starts wrapping around her body. Sigmund screams at the priest. What is happening to her? Don't stop! Keep healing her! Faster! The priest just shakes his head, looking defeated. It is over. The holy light cannot fight this sickness anymore. Sigmund collapses in despair. But then, Jun Su chimes in, totally calm. I can still save her. Your wife is not just sick. She is possessed by that nasty evil spirit, Hickey Maris, right? Sigmund looks at him like he has seen a ghost. How the hell did you know that? Do you actually know how to fix this? Jun Su just gives a flat nod. Yup, I told you I was not lying. Hearing that, Sigmund just drops to his knees on the floor. He is shaking as he begs. Please. If you save my wife, I swear on my life, I will give you anything you want. Excellent. Jun Su lets a small smirk play on his lips. Better make sure you keep that promise. He instantly swaps his traits and starts pumping magic into her body. See, stigma is a demon disease from the labyrinth. It is nasty stuff. It literally shreds your soul. It is one of the most brutal debuffs a person can get. That evil spirit was basically eating her alive. But thanks to Jun Su, Jordis finally starts looking human again. Sigmund cheers, seeing her stop shaking. Jun Su just nods. I used my mana to knock her out. She is resting. Right then, the priests returned with the goods. We got what you asked for, boss. Jun Su grinned. Perfect, let's get to work. They set up the ritual gear around the bed immediately. Jun Su started mixing a nasty potion while the priests finished prep, looking totally sketched out and nervous. The candles are all lit, but can this actually work? Jun Su just gave them a cold stare. Technically, this is more about helping her win the fight than just curing her. Even in a game, a nasty debuff like this isn't easily fixed. Spamming heals just feeds the demon. It drains her health to get even bigger and meaner. You're literally feeding the monster her own energy. To kill it, we gotta rip out the hidden seed. Suddenly, Jordis was swallowed by a thick, shadowy black aura. She started floating like a ghost. Then, horns sprouted from her head as her body began warping. Sigmund lost it. Why is she turning into a demon? Did you mess up the ritual? Jun Su just shook his head. Relax, it's working. We gotta flush the demon out into the open. You have to force them to reveal themselves before you can do anything. He pulled a cross and, without flinching, slammed it right into her stomach. Blinding light exploded from her chest. Jun Su let out a massive roar. Beat it, you filthy demon! Get out! A stream of black smoke ripped out of her and vanished. She collapsed back onto the bed. Sigmund scrambled over, and thankfully, her eyes finally fluttered open. Seeing her man crying, she mumbled, Who died? Why are you a mess? Sigmund just sobbed harder. You've been a puppet for 6 months. If it wasn't for this kid, you'd be a goner for sure. He pointed at Jun Su, who was just chilling in the corner. Jun Su didn't care about the drama. He told the priests, Your turn, fix her up the rest. He turned and walked out, letting the priests handle the boring cleanup. Later, Sigmund looked at Jun Su with huge respect. Thanks, man. But why'd you come all this way? To find you, obviously. Sigmund was totally lost. Jun Su just gave him a little smirk and continued. You said you'd give me anything, right? Cool. Then teach me that legendary Sega family technique. Sigmund's ancestor was Sigus, the greatest hero in Norse myth. That technique was their family's ultimate secret weapon. It was a top-tier style. As Sigmund started the transfer, Jun Su felt the power. Every cell in his body started screaming. His magic was evolving, getting way more intense and also incredibly tough. Pure mana swirled around Jun Su's heart. He meditated hard and finally unlocked the Saigon characteristic. His total mana shot up over 30% instantly. Now, mastering other sword skills would be a breeze. Suddenly, the priests walked back into the room. Mr. Redmound, she's all clear. He practically jumped out of his skin. For real? He bolted. The priest turned back to Jun Su. Superman Kim, your exorcism skills are legit insane. Can you fix other possessed people? Jun Su just gave them a slow nod. A bit. Teach us? We'll pay you, obviously, Jun Su thought. If I play this right, I'll have these holy guys in my pocket. Deal, Jun Su said instantly. The Guardian Alliance were the legends who held back the Great Labyrinth for the sake of the world. He told them he couldn't take cash from heroes, so he'd teach them for free. They called him a saint. They had no clue he was scheming. Would these guys really just take a freebie and walk away? Nah. This opened a huge hidden quest. Later, Atron threw a massive party. Everyone was raising glasses and cheering. Redmount and his wife kept pushing drinks on Jun Su while chugging like absolute legends themselves. Man, how much can these two drink? I'm literally about to pass out just watching them. A week ago, Jun Su was giving lectures to the whole city. He shared his secrets with the church and the Alliance, even going around personally saving warriors who were suffering from demonic possession. He even gave them the ingredient list. He basically rewrote the city's future. A festival was the absolute least they could do for him. But man, Jun Su needed a breather. He was completely drained. After a bit, he finally managed to slip out. He took a deep breath. Finally, freedom. Damn, these people go hard. Right then, the director of the Guardian Alliance walked up. He flashed a big grin and said, I was worried I would not get a chance to thank you. I ran over the second I felt better. Got a sec? Jun Su just gave a small shake of his head. I am pretty beat. Let's talk later. Hearing that, the head of the Guardian Alliance could not help but let out a heavy, disappointed sigh. Oh man, that is a bummer. Our chairman really wanted to see you. That stopped Jun Su right in his tracks. The director kept on rambling. Well, if you are not feeling it, I guess there is nothing we can do. I will tell him how it is. But Jun Su flipped the script fast. With a wink and a grin, he said, Nope, I am wide awake. After you. The chairman of the Guardian Alliance, he knew exactly who that big shot was. The youngest student of the Heavenly Demon Blood King. A minute later, Jun Su was standing in a massive mansion. He gave a deep bow to the guy in the fancy chair. Total honor to meet you, sir. I am the warrior Kim. The man was just as polite. Nice meeting you. Call me Tranvi. Jun Su locked eyes with him and started talking. Chairman, I know all about how hard you work to protect the labyrinth and lead the Guardian Alliance. Tranvi just smiled humbly. Thanks for the kind words. It is nothing, really. Come on, take a seat. Jun Su sat down and heard Tranvi chuckle. So, I hear you are the guy who saved everyone with that spirit seal cure, right? You are just as cool as the rumors claim. Jun Su could not even hide how shocked he was. You know who I am, sir? Tranvi just smirked. Nothing happens in this world without the Guardian Alliance hearing about it. They call you the new star of Korea. Ever thought about becoming my personal student? He stared straight at Jun Su, waiting for an answer. Jun Su was so stunned he actually shouted out loud. Wait, what? What does that mean? Tranvi began to explain it all very slowly. Honestly, your vibe is just like my master's, like you can see the future or something. Jun Su frowned. The Heavenly Demon? Tranvi nodded. Exactly. The Heavenly Demon was the best to ever do it. His skills were basically on another level, but he has been hiding away for decades. I have not seen the guy in forever. His students, like the Skylord and Blood King, are all SSR-rank and level 8 legends. But the Heavenly Demon is just built different, O-rank, all because of those crazy Heavenly Demon arts. It is the perfect technique for offense and defense. It covers everything from mana control to how you move. He owns the strongest martial arts on the planet. Tranvi paused for a second before he kept talking. It is a bummer the demon arts went to my older brother, but my blood fist style is still a total powerhouse. If you want real power, you will not regret this. Jun Su's eyes were practically glowing. This was absolutely insane. The blood fist arts are a top-tier skill. This was a once-in-a-lifetime shot. But Jun Su hesitated. I am honored by the offer, sir, but I cannot take it. Chairman Tranvi looked at him, totally confused. Am I not good enough to be your master? Jun Su shook his head. No, not that. I already have one, so I have to say no to anyone else. As he spoke, he pulled out his sword to show Tranvi. Tranvi took one look and nodded. Oh, I see. You met Grandmaster Gu. I cannot go around stealing his prize student. That guy is a living legend, after all. He clicked his tongue, looking pretty annoyed about it. Finally found a solid student, and that old man beats me to it. Damn. Guess there is nothing else I can do. Tranvi pulled out a medal and set it on the table, a little gift to show you I am on your side. Is this the Heavenly Demon medal? Jun Su yelled, totally shocked. Wait, you are really giving me something this rare? Tranvi got serious. Only our master and his students are allowed to use this. You had better take care of it. Thank you so much, Jun Su said, but he knew exactly why the chairman was handing over such a prize. He is telling me if I ever change my mind, I should come find him. Same move the general made with that sword. Man, I freaking love this. Getting scouted by two of the strongest guys in the entire world? It was the best feeling ever. He was grinning so hard he actually started shaking. Tranvi looked at him, totally confused. Why are you shaking all of a sudden? Jun Su jumped up and bowed. I am just so touched by this gift, sir. I will keep it safe. Take care. Franvi nodded, looking satisfied. Excellent. Next time we meet, I'll be the master and he'll be the student. Jun Su was basically throwing a party in his head. All right, time to go collect my fat reward for that brutal quest. The next morning, inside a city skyscraper, two priests from rival religious orders brought Jun Su a treasure chest. He was totally hyped, but Jun Su played it cool and acted shy. I seriously wasn't expecting a reward, which just made the priests hype him up even more.